The twin flame journey and the death of the ego. I mean, we all know on this journey, if you want union, if you want any kind of spiritual ascension, your ego has to die, right? Just that. You can't take it to the next level. Wrong. Let's talk a little bit about the ego. I see the ego as our bodyguard. It wants to protect you. And there is a part of us within us that is so scared of change. I have read a while back that some people who suffer from depression, and I actually knew someone who was very dear to me who had this diagnosis, and he confirmed it himself. So some people who suffer from depression know that this comes from something in their life that is not right anymore. And they know that there needs to be some kind of change. And that change could be things like something on the outside, changing a job that you hate. But it could also be a change of habits. There has been proof that, for example, a change of diet, turning to veganism can have effect on mental health. Obviously, if you're sensitive to energy, if you consume something that has been tortured, killed in the last moments of their lives, the energy of fear, and not just energy, it's hormones of fear that are in those products you would consume. Yes, that can cause mental health as well. Or habits like meditation that can positively impact these kind of mental health things. So there is some kind of a change, and many people know, yes, there is something that must happen, but many people are scared. Imagine someone who has suffered from depression for a while, maybe even since their childhood or teenage years. If you then would actively tackle the issue, the mental health issue, then a new life would begin. But that's the thing, many people are scared of change. They're scared of the unknown. Even though they're suffering where they are, we are still scared of the unknown. And that's the ego. The ego wants to protect us from the unknown because we are scared. We are programmed to avoid something that is unknown, because everything that's unknown is a potential threat to ourselves. So the ego just wants to protect you. Imagine you've been hurt in the past and you have created the assumption love hurts, which is not a good assumption, because first of all, we manifest based on our assumptions, and we will of course manifest the same story over and over again. But also, seriously, it was not love that hurt. It was some kind of fighting or love not being reciprocated, or some kind of an abuse that would hurt. But it's not love. Love is a light energy. Any kind of toxicity, for example jealousy is based on fear, not based on love. So love cannot hurt. It is other things that we attach to our meaning or our assumption, our definition of love, that per se is not love in itself. So we created the assumption love hurts. And what happens then? You fall in love, and you still have the subconscious emotion within you. So what does your ego do? Have you ever heard people manipulating situations? They want to have love, but then they have the assumption love hurts. So the ego steps in and will try to prevent them from that kind of love. And then some behavior that is not very healthy can occur. For example, somebody who has been cheated on will start trying to control the other person. That is the ego that is trying to protect you from getting hurt again, from falling in love again. For some people, that is more what people would classify as the avoidant attachment style. In twin flame communities, it is called the twin flame runner. By the way, I do have a video that is called why you should not call them twin flame runner anymore. Please check it out. That is some people that also have the connection of love hurts in some kind of way, or they have experienced, maybe even beginning with mom, some kind of smothering energy, that they were controlled or dominated by someone they loved and smothered, and they didn't really get to develop themselves. They didn't get to make any decisions for themselves. And some women are like that. They find a guy and then they try to change him, trying to decide what he gets to wear. And he, for example, is working a job, and then she decides, no, you can work another job where there's more money involved, even though he doesn't want to have another job. Or she's trying to control when and how often he's meeting with his friends, or telling him, okay, I don't want you to see that friend anymore. This kind of controlling behavior. So if a man or any person has experienced this, of course they have been traumatized by that, and then they're getting into the avoidant attachment style. And that is basically their ego telling them, their inner bodyguard, if you let somebody close, that might happen again. So they also manipulate themselves. It's this kind of self-manipulation to keep people at bay. But per se, the ego is nothing that is a bad part of you. It's just showing you what your old assumptions are. Always tell my client, listen to your ego. Don't take it serious in a way that you believe everything your ego says, but listen to your ego. If your ego tells you, oh my God, what if I get cheated on again? Well, then your ego tells you, look, you've got the energy, the frequency of being betrayed still in your frequency. Clear that. You still have that belief. Take care of that. If you have thoughts like, oh my God, what if my person doesn't choose me and maybe I'm not pretty enough? Well, then listen to your ego. It tells you there is something with your self-concept that is not as strong, as good as you should be. Listen to your ego. It will show you exactly what your subconscious beliefs are that are keeping your person away from you, or that manifest in attracting a toxic kind of relationship, or the on-off kind of situation. Because we always repeat cycles over and over and over again until we break them, and your ego is kind of like showing you the way. So look at what thoughts come up, observe them. But then another thing is, the ego is such an important part of us, and I would like to differentiate between distorted ego and just ego. What is the ego? Ego in Latin, I believe, just means I. So I know that ego actually means the I, and that is all in manifesting, the I am. That is our consciousness, the I am. So spiritual people, actually they have a very strong ego. But as I just said a moment ago, there is a difference between the distorted ego that is still based in fear and the healthy ego. The healthy ego that is still trying to protect you, yes, but if you have taken care of those inner demons, then that ego doesn't have to step in as much anymore to protect you from something. If you learn to step into your conscious creator mode, in the I am mode, then your ego is helping you with that. Also, what is the ego? It's your sense of self. We are not swarm animals. Like birds, you've probably seen them. If one changes direction, or a swarm of fish, they all do, because they have this over-consciousness. Yes, we humans do have that too. Of course, we do have the oversoul. We do have a shared consciousness. But we are blessed with a more individual consciousness as well. We do perceive ourselves as individuals, and that is the ego. And maybe you have noticed that spiritual people, they have usually a quite strong ego. Not distorted ego anymore, not the fear-based ego. They do have that kind of ego that you noticed, oh my God, I am a divine spark, I am a creator, I am the I am. And you see that they're often very individual. I cannot talk for all spiritual people, but you probably wouldn't find too many spiritual people chasing down the latest fashion trends. I mean, there may be some, of course, because maybe some spiritual people want to bring a change to that or influence that in some kind of way. But most spiritual people, they don't try to fit into the society anymore. Of course, they still want to connect to others, but they want to be themselves and they want to express themselves the way they are and not the way society expects them to be. And by that, of course, I don't mean societal rules like we should not steal, we should treat others well. Of course, I mean, you cannot be a spiritual person and try to harm others. That's not possible, because you realize, oh my God, I'm connected to everything, and whatever I do to another person, I'm kind of doing to myself because they are part of me. But you see, spiritual people often, they go the path less traveled. They don't go mainstream so much. So they do have an ego. When it comes to the spiritual union, it is not about killing the ego, because then you would just be like some dumb swarm animal without having your own thoughts and mind. But when you learn about ascension and awakening, then you realize that is basically what that journey is about, to strip away old programs and to find out, who am I? What does make me happy? How can I express myself? How can I be part of this creation, be part of the society, and bring something unique to the table, to realize my uniqueness? It is what's making me special, and it is okay to be special. It is okay to be different, and I'm standing by that. That is awakening. Another thing I would like to point out, and it's those fractions that always talking about, yeah, let's kill the ego. And there is this meme I have in my head. It's somebody's jumping off a cliff, and the cliff says ego, and then they're falling into the next cliff that's a little bit below, and it says spiritual ego. So there is something that is a spiritual ego, and maybe you have been through that phase. I believe it is a phase of awakening. I have been there in my mid-20s, when you just awaken to your power and you realize, oh my God, I am different than most people in the society. I do have some kind of powers. Yes, I can connect to spirit. I am special. It's important to still understand that you are no better than anybody else, even if you realize you have powers, because every soul on this planet comes from the same spark, and there is no soul better than another. And you see it with the spiritual ego right now going on. I am a starseed. I am here to awaken everyone else. I am better than other people because I come from planet XYZ, so I am super special. You know, that basically is part of the spiritual ego. Nobody is special. I always compare it to school. Maybe you're a little bit more advanced, you're in a higher grade, but let's say you're in 10th grade and there is another one in 5th grade. You shouldn't make fun of the 5th grader just because they are not in 10th grade yet, because that little 5th grader may be an absolute genius that could basically completely kick your butt and has way more oomph than you could ever have because that is what they choose to experience in this lifetime. So just because they're not on your level does not mean that they're weak or they don't have it in them. Everybody has that in them. So no, you are not special. You're unique. Hopefully, you're unique. And in a way, you are special, but everybody is special. And we are special in our uniqueness. We are the same, but different. We are all worth the same. We all come from the same source. And the spiritual ego is this phase where you see yourself as more special than others. And I know it's a trap. I mean, I have been a spiritual teacher for so long. Since I was like 23, I have been starting to work in this field as a spiritual teacher. And even before that, of course, I had been connecting to spirit. I mean, you don't just start working in that field without having any knowledge in it, right? And I'm 40 now, so I have been working in this for a long time, and I would think, yes, I do know a lot about my field because I have talked to thousands of people and analyzed their stories and found the red threads. That's what I always specialized on. So there is a ton of experience. There is my own journey. There is my own meditations and connecting to spirit for like almost 2 decades now. And then in addition, it's research that I do. I've always tried to feed my mind by reading more. So I know I do have a very fast knowledge when it comes to spirituality. And I know that I am further developed than anyone I know in my personal life. And I know I'm further developed than pretty much everyone I've met so far in my personal life and my clients. But does that mean I do have all of the answers? No. Does that mean I'm the only one who has answers? No. Does that mean that I never make any mistake? No. And that's something I also learned in my journey. There's a new thing you learn and you realize a truth, and then you go on in your journey and you learn more, and then you realize that what you thought was true 5 years prior to that you actually outgrew that, and it was just the kind of knowledge you were ready for at that specific point. So the point I am at right now, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 2 months, I look back, I'm like, what I thought was true back then, yeah, I mean, that's the truth I was prepared for, but I outgrew that. One example would be duality or polarity. I still believe in that, yes. I mean, there's the feminine, the masculine, black and white, but I don't believe in evil spirits anymore. I mean, yes, I do. Let's clarify that. I believe that we manifest and create everything ourselves, and we do have everything like watercolors in school. You get all of the colors and you can paint with dark colors and manifest that. So there is no outside evil coming to get you, but if you have limiting beliefs and fears, then they can manifest in the experience of being haunted by evil spirits. But it is still something that is self-made. So that is something I outgrew. Back then I thought, yeah, there's the good ones and then there's the bad ones. A little bit further along I realized, wait, the bad ones belong kind of like to the good ones, because we need the bad in order to experience the good. And if God is the all that is, then of course that would include darkness. How can God be anything and not be darkness at the same time? So the darkness is just one aspect of God, but it all belongs to the same source. And then later on I realized, oh my God, I am God. I am the creator. I have my own quantum bubble. I am the I am. I am the spark of the divine. And in this physical 3D, I am the creator, and I can create experiences where I'm haunted by demons, and I can create something completely else. But there is no outside force. So you see a bit of a development there, right? Seeing polarity, then seeing the greater sense. Yeah, polarity is important. It was created, and then step further, oh my God, I created it. The watercolors, like the colors, they were created by something greater than this fragment of God that I am, because I'm just a part of God. I'm not the all I am. So I was giving all of the colors, but there is something greater than myself that created all of the colors. But I can do with my colors whatever I want and manifest whatever I want. But what I wanted to say, yes, I know I am pretty much advanced, and I've been a teacher for so long. Does that mean I always know everything right? I always get everything perfect? No. You have to be conscious of other people who are also very much connected that can spark something in you. For example, when I learned about the teachings of Neville Goddard, I was astounded. It was just like, wow, there is this man who's not even alive anymore, who's been the best teacher I've ever had. So there has been someone before me who knew more than I do, where I can profit and benefit from. But then I manifested it, right? I manifested a timeline where that man existed, and I manifested his teachings coming into my life, because that's how powerful I am, and that's how powerful you are as well. But to sum it up, the ego is nothing that is trying to hurt you. On the contrary, it is trying to protect you. It is trying to keep you safe. listen to it. Don't believe it, but listen to it. It will show you exactly where your shadows lie. And then you can tackle them, and don't be scared of having an ego. We need that. Your ego is how you navigate in this 3D world. Without it, you'd be a stupid swarm animal, or some people believe in and that is just another manifestation. Again, we do have all of the colors in extraterrestrials that are like swarm animals. I believe like the Greys, they don't have so much an own consciousness, but more they have like a connected consciousness. But we're not like that. You get to have your own opinion, you get to have your own mind, you get to have your own uniqueness, and you need to have an ego to experience that. So your ego is basically your friend. It's just a distorted ego, the old fears. That is the part we need to take care of, but you cannot take care of it by trying to kill it. Listen to it, take it serious. It's your friend. It wants to help you. It wants to protect you. Again, this video turned out to be a lot longer than I expected, but I hope it helps someone out there. I do wish you all the best. If you need a little help, you can contact me. You can reach out. My contact information is below. Check out my other videos. Check out my other content. I do have playlists created on different topics. And please help me by liking, subscribing, sharing. I mean, we want to raise the energy of the collective, right? And I believe, and that's maybe my ego talking, but I believe that a lot of my content can actively help. With that, it's my intention. So please share my videos. If it did help you and you want to leave a little tip, my PayPal is below. And if you want my personal help, you can reach out and book your own personal coaching. And I do see you in a personal coaching or in another video. And till then, as usually, I do wish you all the best now. Bye bye.